The button has been hit. Come on in, folks. We see you out there.
It's the apocalypse.
Come on in. We're starting a little late this morning. We hope you're with us. Let's check. We're only
being recorded as well.
Minutes. Pardon?
This is being recorded as well, it says.
No, this says stream, live stream here.
Mine's it's got. I've got the little live tag up in the corner, but it also says on the thing that we're being recorded. So.
Well, I did get a notice that Facebook was acting wonky this morning. So, but we're over there. We're there on my Facebook.
The world
Facebook's
is
always
wonky.
though. That's so true.
This morning
there we're public.
Lemon puffs, so I'll be having a treat.
The world will be right once more.
Once I've had lemon puffs, the world will be right. Yeah.
Lemon puffs.
Come on in, everybody. We see you out there. We're going to run the opening and get things going here. We got some two fisted tales to take a look at.
Besides some nails.
All right.
If you look at something and there's nothing there, what's the difference of figuring out what it was in the first place?
Absolutely.
What was that? This is not a charade. We need total concentration. Now, once again, this time, with theory.
With Fee-wing, folks. Here we go.
Ewing.
In the time before Atlantis sank and the lands of the world were savage and untamed, one man would claim his destiny. Leaving his Atlantean tribe behind and throwing off the shackles of Lemurian bondage, he sailed the seas as a pirate captain before seizing his place as a king. And now that he has the throne, how long will he be able to keep it? This is the Shadow Kingdom, the classic sword and sorcery tale by Robert E. Howard, adapted by Randy Zimmerman, with artwork by Russ Leach. Available now at fundmycomic.com.
For 1 week. 1 week.
One more week, folks. One more week. Due to a banking glitch, we're going to be over at Fund My Comic, available for backers for 1 more week, just to catch the ones that we lost initially, and to bring in new folks. In case you missed it, it's your last chance. This time for sure. Nothing up my sleeve. Yeah. Presto. Folks, we're glad you're here. This is Comics by Night for Friday, the 26th of April, 2024. We're going to look at some great two-fisted tales from EC Comics, some great art, great artists, great stories coming your way. I am your host, Randy Zimmerman. You can find my work over at aerocomics.store. We can find works like The Fool, Hero Bot Zero, which is my kind of my personal favorite there. Gonna know who he's patterned after. And Paragon here, which is a great superhero story with a fantastic twist ending that I wish everybody would buy and enjoy. So aerocomics.store, folks, for my stuff. Fundmycomics.com for the Shadow Kingdom graphic novel. So go over there and take a look. I'm real happy that you're here. Also joining us this morning is Mr. Glenn Fleming. Glenn, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Glenn Fleming. I'm a writer, artist, and publisher. If you go over to Fund My Comic, you'll be able to get a copy of my Hatch annotated book, which details the life of my cartoon character Hatch. And I'd go to Amazon. You can be able to pick up a copy of my Comics Unlimited magazine, which is, does what it says on the tin. Issue 15 is currently available. And if you go to New Haven Publishing and or Amazon, Barnes and Noble, places like that, you can pick up a copy of this book I wrote about my visit to meet the great Jack Kirby back in the late 80s and early 90s. If you just Google my name, you'll find all kinds of things. I've got 12 books in print of varying subjects. So just put my name in Google and you'll find a lot of stuff.
All right. Also joining us this morning, Mr. Russ Leach. Russ, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Russ Leach. I'm a comic book artist from the UK. I have been involved in many IPs over my time, But right at the moment, the most important one is The Shadow Kingdom, which you can pick up in demand at Storefront for one more week at fundmycomic.com. It's a great book. Robert E. Howard is a wonderful writer. Randy's done an amazing adaptation of it, and we've got more coming. So sign up for my email list, which you can pick up at russleach.com, and you can find out about my other creations, Only Death Can Save Us, and the other work that I've done over the time for things like Batman and Marvel and stuff like that, Doctor Who. And all my social media connections are there as well over at russleach.com. Sign up for the email list. Go check out the book, The Shadow Kingdom.
Genuine Comics. Dave's in the house this morning. Good morning, Dave. Good morning, gents. Glad that you're here. Leroy is also in the house. Leroy, Russ has to wake up from his grandpa nap before we can begin.
Grandpa nap. That's a great grandpa nap. That's what it feels like. It's the lemon puffs. They're keeping me going this morning.
There we are. Pull that back a little bit. Earthquake. Had an earthquake out of just south of the Michigan border the other day. Nobody felt anything though. Yeah. Only a 2-pointer. So, or 2.0, I think it was. I've only felt an earthquake once. That was decades ago. It had a little rumble that went. We felt this far north. Two Fisted Tales, folks. We are looking at the Russ Cochran reprint volumes. Beautiful, beautiful set. A little sun drenched on the spine for me. That was my accident right there. But just beautifully produced, reprinted directly off the originals, shot directly off the originals. Covers recolored by the great Marie Severin, who did the initial colors to start with on the covers, and the interiors are in black and white. 6 issues bound together into a book, four book set. And this particular issue, number 35, is one of their special Civil War issues. They had 3 issues printed, and I think they had 5 planned to cover the entire Civil War. And they were hoping to get it together so that they could bind it into a book and offer it to the schools. But they never quite got that far. So, but what we do have is amazing. And we're starting off here with Robert E. Lee by John Severin. I should say the great John Severin. We also have a wonderful map of the United States as it was at the time and the different troops that were associated, different military dress for the war. There's a lot of horses.
Yeah. One of the best, John Severin.
At the best of his, at the peak of his abilities too. Just crazy good stuff. A little bit of duo shade here. Painted in. But other than that, this is all pen and ink work.
Wow. I said last week about the border panels being a bit thick. It must be an editorial thing. I don't like that.
Well, the stories were fully scripted and sent to the letterer first.
Yeah.
And the letterer would sit there and letter it all out and put in the panel borders and then send it to the artist to complete. And the completed art got sent back, shot.
I mean, could you imagine the added discipline and challenge on receiving pages with lettering on that you had to draw?
I was just thinking that myself, Glenn.
Yes.
There's 2 things you take from all this stuff is, first, these artists are all unafraid to draw anything.
Yep.
They don't sit there and go, oh, can I go and get a 3D model for that? Or I don't quite know how to do this. They're just rounded artists that know how to draw things.
Yeah.
And then you get the added extra of, right, these are all the boxes. You can't pop out the panels. This is what you're doing. You got to work within these restrictive guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
On the plus side, you don't have to worry about where the text is as far as, you know, so if the text is already on a panel, you know how much space you've got to play with.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about, is there going to be enough room for me to leave for the text and all the rest of it.
William
But
Pace is in the
outside of
house,
that,
man.
it must have been incredibly restrictive to have just been given the panels and just say, right, that's it, do it, make it work,
Very
and
daunting,
make it
that's
exciting. You know,
Of course, yeah. I'd like to see the script. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm going to
Like
say
to see the
I know let's say John Severin gets a package through the post and he gets all these pages lettered, as we're saying.
Mhm.
I'd like to see what script he got to if he had any descriptions of who had to be in the panel, or whether he made that decision.
With the two fisted tales, because the editor was Harvey Kurtzman. I believe Kurtzman sent thumbnails to everybody.
Oh, right.
To show them how he thought the story would unfold.
Right. Well, that makes it a little easier.
A little, yeah.
Slightly easier.
There's one real famous story that they sent to Krigstein. And I believe it was a 6-page story, and it was about a guy dealing with the Holocaust. And Krigstein took the story very personal and wanted to do his best work on it. So I don't know if he told them or not, but he went and he took a razor blade to the pages and cut everything up. And he stretched the 6-page story into an 8-page story and redid it, sent it back to them. And much to their dismay, they had to figure out how to fit it into a comic. But because they were set up with the rigid amount per story.
They probably had to ring the other guy and say, that 12-page story that you've done, we will only use 8 pages of it because the other guy's given us an extra 4.
Well, I think they dropped an ad and something else in order to accommodate it. They probably dropped a couple of ads in order to run it. And I think it's Comics Journal did a huge article on it, and a book about Krigstein's career that focused on that story because it's so monumentally great.
That story in itself has an extreme, a lot to learn and commentary about current day. Could you imagine Marvel or DC dropping an ad because the story meant so much to a creator?
Right.
I can't at all.
No.
And that just goes to show what I've suggested, that publishers back in the day, their business was comics.
Yeah.
And because of that, from the top down, they were passionate about the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from the top down, they are not passionate about comics, and that's why you get the dross you get.
Yeah.
So true.
So somebody saying this story means so much to me. It's historically important. It's important to me emotionally. I've done this to it, and they go, "Wow, that's fantastic. We're going to drop
exactly what it was.
A page here to put that in because that's so important." That just would not happen now.
No,
it wouldn't. Not in the same way. I mean, it might be done sort of. It might be what's the word for it? Created a story like that, a story around the story. Somebody might create a story for marketing, but it wouldn't be what actually happened. And this is a perfect example of why people at the top did actually care about comics at the time. Comics were their business.
That was Gaines, though. Bill Gaines.
Still,
he was that kind of guy. That's why he went out and found the talent that he found to work on his comics.
Passionate about it, and it made money at the same time. Folks. I mean, that's
They sold millions of copies.
Yeah. That's something that we all, certainly us older fellas still have in us, is that we do want to make money out of this. We do want to live from it. But it's not just a job. It's a passion. No. It's everything. And making money from it is part of that passion. I've said on multiple occasions that the idea that you'd be part of a bullpen, or that your books would be sold, or that people would pay you to draw, is all part of the dream of drawing comic books. It's not just making the comic books. This crappy community stuff that's come out of Kickstarter and all the rest of it of you shouldn't make money out of it. What a load of tosh.
Yep.
You know, you should be able to produce a product that gets to enough people that everybody wants, that you can make money and entertain.
Somebody
This
always
is-
makes money.
Yeah.
Somebody does.
This is-
Yeah, guarantee Kickstarter does.
This is what lemon cakes does to Russ, folks.
Yeah. Sorry, I've had the lemons done me in this morning. It's made me rant. Sorry.
Look at this guy here.
Sorry.
Look at this guy. Thunderation. I'm hit. I'm kilt. Yeah.
I'm killed.
Because back then, with infection and all, getting a shot could have,
Yeah.
anywhere
That's it. It's all over. Yeah.
could have been deadly. Yeah.
Mm.
You got these little balls of lead flying through the air. I'm killed.
So, do you reckon that they sent this with the speech bubbles on?
Mhm.
What about the sound effects?
Not the
Do you reckon
balloons.
that's the artist?
Yeah, that probably is, I would imagine.
Right.
The balloons were drawn in by the artist as well.
Oh, I see. Okay, so they just put the text in. That's even more awkward.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's also why everything's crowded to the top of the panel.
Yeah.
All the dialogue's at top and it's not spread throughout.
That panel there, that's
work.
great with the thing going off. I couldn't imagine anybody in a war situation saying "ow."
Yeah. Oh, let's get down.
Ow. Ow, that's smart.
Thunderation. Ow. I'm kilt.
Oh, these playing cards flying through the
Yeah.
air as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that bomb landed on his head? Or is it just in front of him? That shell, is it in the middle panels? Is it
Well,
blown into pieces?
It's in front of him. It's in front of him
Right.
because this guy
Okay.
is right here. Yeah.
Right. I thought it'd been blown to pieces.
He probably was. He probably took a lot of shrapnel.
But I don't think those things exploded, did they? They were just balls, weren't they? They just go through you, wouldn't they?
I think some of them did. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Depending on the makeup and casing. They weren't like the heavy cannonballs. Well, no, they were heavy cannonballs. But yeah.
Could you imagine that though? A ball going through 30 guys in a advance. Can you imagine that? Oh,
Just gone. Yeah.
oh dear.
Propelled at a speed that, their body just makes a hole
Yeah.
or explodes.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Is this Harvey Kurtzman who's written it again?
I would imagine so, yeah.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
everybody
good job.
else was working on their own stuff. Feldstein was overseeing the science fiction stuff. Kurtzman was overseeing the war material, frontline combat, and MAD. He was watching over MAD at the time as well.
Fantastic use of blacks on these pages,
Yeah.
especially in the sort of group scenes.
This is,
with the heavily populated scenes.
yeah. This is painted in with dual shade board here. All the gray work.
Right.
It's beautifully painted here. Hopefully the camera's picking that up. There's some
It's a
nice
bit
subtle
blurred,
shading
folks.
here. Is it blurred already?
Yeah.
Try to get it front on. Focus. Refocus. Is that better? Looks better here. Oh.
Slightly, but it's
kind of going in and out.
Yeah.
Becomes night.
You said these were shot off the originals again,
Yes.
which means somebody has all the originals. I wonder where they are now. They've been sold off.
Well, Gaines had them all in a vault, and then called Cochran and said, "I'm going to turn these over to Heritage to sell, auction off." And they took good stats out of all of them, and then Heritage auctioned off all of the originals, one story at a time, story by story. They wouldn't allow them to be broke down by individual pages.
Right.
So they just had a Antiques Roadshow a few months back where somebody had a Mad Will Elder story, and they had the entire story there. He had bought that from Heritage for, I think it was $8,000. It's like $1,000 a page at the time. So
Jeez.
nowadays it's about
So what do you get?
at least 1 0 behind every page. Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's a beautifully done story though too. So well, all of this EC work is phenomenal. Anyway. Here we go. I didn't want to turn real quick because there's a Wally Wood story after this in New Orleans.
Oof. Look at that.
Oh,
Just
Look at
crazy
that.
good stuff.
is that duotone or is that tint?
Zip screen. Yep.
Zip screen.
Zip-tone. Zip screen and very fine lines here. All of this is ink work. I'll hear zip screen here and here on that. And the backgrounds here are all zip-tone.
Look at those. Look at those packages in the water in that first panel. They're really floating, aren't they? Can you see in the water? Yeah, they really look like they're floating. I know they are meant to be, but they look like they are. They're not rocks. They're actually floating.
And the knockout here, negative space for the title, and then the reversal for the lettering on the head caption. Yeah. Just great. That had to have been shot, photographed, and then pasted in.
Yep.
If you look close, you can see the difference.
Yeah.
The cut lines fall. Beautiful arm here. Just great stuff. Here, the use of the zip screen.
Yeah.
Negative space. There's no ink line dividing the two. It's just he sat there and cut all of this out off of the zip screen.
Brush it over
and
with white, with maybe white out.
It doesn't look like it. He might have. That's possible, but I doubt it.
Because I wouldn't want to cut out tint and make round lines like that. I'd
just use
I'd jump straight for the brush and the white out.
Yeah.
It sure doesn't look like it if he did. It's a masterful job.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
So they're throwing are those bombs in those explosives in those packages and they're just floating them down the river?
Yeah, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
So they set them on fire and then they float down the river and hopefully go next to a ship and explode.
Yeah, most all the ships were made out of wood at this point.
Oh, right. So they're catching fire then, rather than exploding.
Well, they were causing havoc in general down there in New Orleans. So
it's called the Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that cannon smoke.
Yeah.
It just looks zipped. That's white paint here.
Do you know what that on those two panels on the right hand side there where they're shooting the cannons? That looks like a painting.
Yeah.
That's just been grayscaled. It's incredible.
Yeah. It is. Just amazing stuff.
Wow.
Again, Wally Wood just kicking ass. Yeah. Phenomenal stuff.
It's what he does.
Yeah, all the time. I don't think I've ever seen a bad piece of Wally Wood art.
No, never. No. Even when he's inked over other people that aren't his equal.
Yes.
He's
I've
managed to make it look great.
I've seen a poster of Walt Disney characters that was downright naughty, though.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I've got a copy of that. That's a fantastic chain, isn't it? In that last panel on the first page, the chain from the ship going into the
and the water. Yeah, the whole picture is just incredible.
See, the thing is about this artwork that people should remember is that the reference that you can't know everything in your head. So you'd need reference, and like now we just go to Google and type in American Civil War sailor, and we'll get an image, and then we'll see the guys at the top there. but you'd have to go to a library unless you had your own sort of morgue, as they used to call it, didn't they?
A lot of
photo
these, a
reference.
lot of these, a lot of these artists at this point did have their own personal set of reference articles, pictures from articles that they had cut out and stuck into files, and books upon coffee table picture books that had reference.
Yeah, but you
in
still have to find it. Like I'm just saying that if you go to Google,
Yes.
you can just get anything instantly,
right.
and it shows you the.
Yeah.
I mean, when Hollywood got this this particular script, I would imagine he would have to begin his research because, like I say, you know, you have to research the weapons and what the ships look like if you can. And
Mm-hmm.
I know you can.
Even if he'd done something like this before and he had some previous reference, he'd still have to go back to that reference into the filing cabinet,
yeah.
go through it.
Oh yeah.
You know, whatever. And then if he didn't have a few bits, he'd have to go and find them. If you look at some of the Joe Kubert videos on YouTube, he's got like filing cabinets full of stuff behind him, like his whole studio around him.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, Hollywood was a bit of a cheeky character. I wonder. I don't know, but I wonder if he thought, well, nobody else. I don't know what it is, so nobody else will. So I'll just draw something.
I'm sure there were times when
it's only now that we can find him out because we can go to Google.
Yeah, I mean, Google is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because you don't have to get up out your seat, go down the road, and go to a library. You don't have to keep racks and filing cabinets full of research and reference. It's all there for you at your fingertips. But it's there for everyone else as well.
Well, the thing
is, you go, I'll just draw that.
The real curse is when you get that other stuff that you decide to have a look at.
Yeah.
Where did that hour go?
Yeah, what?
Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe I should have just walked to the library.
That's the term rabbit hole. Yeah. Chase down.
This is fantastic, isn't it? Look at that.
That cannon fire. Yeah. Wow.
Look at Look at that bottom left. The sheen on that side of that cannon there. Look at that.
The amount of ink work that went into making that.
Yeah.
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 Oh, look at that. That's just beautiful, isn't it? Oh.
Best of the best.
Isn't that where fire in the hole comes from? These cannon firing. They used to shout fire in the hole because the whole bloody thing used to just about explode. Never mind what they were firing at. Wow, look at that.
Oh, I take that back. This is zip with some whiteout around it.
Right.
Is it?
Oh, he's cheated there then. I'm not impressed now.
Zip tone. Yeah. There's a little bit of line work.
Yeah,
There's a little bit of
sacking.
line work.
Useless.
Zip screen and some white paint around that. Yeah.
God.
So look at the shadow here.
Lost my
on
face.
this guy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Good, and I thought he was good.
That's line work. Well, there's a couple of shading techniques that Wood knew how to do that he would never tell anybody else how to do them. And he ended up going to the grave with some of that stuff. Nobody was able to
blame him.
It. Yeah.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, fair enough.
Everybody was guessing cheesecloth and zip screen and just a combination of stuff. But
I know what it was. It was nylons.
Could be that too. He had a graduated tone that he would use quite a bit, especially in his later years when his eyesight was going. That just stunned people.
Could you imagine being an artist, any artist, and you've got that bad shoulder that he had, and then his eyesight was going?
Yeah.
It's just
same thing happened to Don Lawrence, wasn't it? The Trigon Empire.
Well,
he lost sight in one eye, couldn't draw perspective too well.
Mm-hmm.
Just instinctive at the end, but really sad.
Well, Wrightson blew out his drawing hand elbow when he did Frankenstein, tendonitis.
I'm not surprised.
Really bad.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not surprised. I mean,
that's why you see his material after that's a little looser, and his painting work is a lot looser than that. So not nearly as tight as the Frankenstein stuff. He just literally wrecked himself on it.
It's literally his
great
magnus opus, wasn't it? It was the pinnacle.
Yeah. Yep. When I was gophering for him, I told him he should also do Dracula as a companion volume, and he just looked at me and said, "No, no,
Nope.
no."
Not doing that.
A little bit of zip here, just beautiful ink work all through this.
Just go back a page, Randy. Just go back a page. That guy at the bottom right, is he trapped? Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
but
he don't get out. He don't get out, does he?
No.
Oh wow.
What's that? The
Oh,
ram. It's the Confederate ram. Lord, help me, help me.
Just reminds me of Gibbons's work.
Yeah. He's rubbish, that Gibbons, copying all these fantastic art, isn't he?
Yeah, if only.
I just want to be able to letter like he does, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look at that sheen on the bottom left there. Just gorgeous.
It's amazing. This too. It's a big crowd scene. That took him a few minutes.
And again, I love the fact that once again, this is like comic strip logic. So you've got sheen, so you've got a direct light source going into that, but it's not affecting the people around it. The shadows aren't the same, but it doesn't matter.
Well, it's like in this one, the light is shining straight onto the cannon, but the real light is coming off this direction.
Yeah.
The guy's
It's
shadows
really
are
weird.
right behind him.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It just looks
You just have
really
to,
cool.
you have to make it
Don't
work,
care.
don't you?
Right.
Yeah, don't care. Absolutely don't care.
As long as it looks great.
And I think that's what these artists did with comic strip, because I'm sure they painted and did other things, and they were very they adhered to certain rules. But comic strip, as sequential art, has its own set of rules in its own way, and some of those require for you to be remembered as a master, you need to know how to break them appropriately. And it's like Kirby, the way that he drew bombastically. It's like Buscema, the way that he stretched anatomy in order to create energy. And look at what Wally Wood's doing here. He's playing with light sources and with textures and stuff. And these people are all bloody masters, and yet they're breaking what you would say to someone who's naive coming in and starting. Well, what do you do? Well, you have to know how the rules work. Okay, but the real masters know how to break them appropriately.
Yeah,
just brilliant stuff.
All to have somebody go over it with color and print it on newsprint.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and don't pay you very much for it.
Luckily, we get to see it here, on nice white paper. And looking at it in the actual comics, a completely different experience. So who's next? Any guesses?
Jack Davis.
Jack Davis.
Get in there.
This is Reed Crandall.
Same thing.
That lovely water on the boat, fantastic.
Yeah, the reflection. Yeah,
reflection. Yeah, it's just, and it's
beautiful.
so inconsequential as well to the whole image. It's just in there.
Yeah. Crandall had an amazing run on Blackhawk for Quality Comics. So he comes to EC very experienced. It's recognized as one of the master illustrators.
When I first went to America, I went to Memphis. And then when I got there, I got off the bus and I was going to go around the corner because the bus station's not far from where Elvis lived.
Graceland.
I got off the bus and then read the newspaper, and it was actually the anniversary of the first anniversary of his death, and it said police firemen strike curfew 8 p.m. and it was 2 p.m. So I just got back on the bus and carried on. There was, and there was 1 million people there around the corner from where I was just about to walk. There was up to 1 million people all that day because it was the first anniversary. And I thought, I don't need that, so I just got on the bus and carried on. And went up to set off to Niagara Falls. But anyway, that's another story.
Niagara Falls. That's a hell of a drive.
Yeah, you got to get there, haven't you? But that's where I ended up.
Wow.
Took me a while to get there, but I got there.
Couple days probably by bus. Yeah.
Yeah.
I only ever saw Niagara. I saw Niagara Falls around the Christmas period, and there was like an inch of. So you went up there, and all the trees that were near the falls, there was like an inch of ice covering everything.
Yeah,
it was magical. It was just. I'd love to, and obviously some of the falls were frozen a little bit, so I'd have really liked to have seen it in full force. But what an amazing sight to see! Like all this landscape was literally covered with ice because of all the water that had been come to spray. It had just laid down as a coating of ice on everything. It was just bonkers.
Well, I've seen it from both sides, the American side and the Canadian side, and the best view is from the Canadian side.
Yeah, oh good.
But if you want to get on and do what I did and get on a boat and go under it, get that on the American side. And you go under it, behind the falls. It's incredible.
Don't you have to go out in a barrel?
You have to what?
Go out in a barrel.
Not legally.
You have to jump into a barrel and go out of the falls of the barrel. That's the way
well, when I was there, they were filming Superman. You know, when he goes further down, and they were doing that. So
cool. Yeah. One of the times when I was there, my parents took us out there. They had shut off the American side of the falls, so all the water was going across the Canadian side. They were studying the American side because it was eroding so badly.
How did they manage to do that? Jesus,
Pardon?
How did they manage to do that? How did they manage to divert that?
One great big dam.
Yeah.
It was one great big long dam, probably diagonally across the river to channel all the water over.
Something like 50 million tons of water goes over every second or something like that.
They probably slowed it down in stages upriver and then built the dam and then let everything. Yeah. But it was raging over the Horseshoe Falls, just crazy amount of water going over.
I think it's something like 200,000 years from now, it'll be a little trickle. It'll finally run out.
Set of rapids. Yeah.
But I don't know how they work that out. Anyway.
But also there was a period there you could don a raincoat and walk the tunnel underneath the Horseshoe Falls.
Yeah.
Hear it raging around you, and walk down another little path right to the front where the water was falling. You can almost stick your hand out and
I've got some film. I've got some film of me going under. I'll have to dig it out.
Yeah.
Post it.
Anyway, Memphis.
Memphis, go to before Elvis, yeah.
Read Crandall, folks. Here we go. This is down here. This is all line work.
Wow.
Just beautifully done line work here and here. It's a little bit of zipper tone right there.
Coming out of the mist.
Other than that, this is all line hatching.
Jeez.
Shading, all ink work here. All ink work here too as well. There might be a little shade, dual shade back here. Maybe the gray tone on the body there. It's all line work here. A little dual shade. Just enough to give it a different tone. But this is all laid in by line. Just very illustrative work. You don't see that kind of stuff in modern comics, do you?
No.
Very few people want to take that kind of time.
Yeah. Not in mainstream ones, you don't know.
No, not in mainstream. That's true. But that's the kind of crazy inking you'd see from like Ernie Choa and Alfredo Alcala.
Yeah.
That kind of great work. Line
Chan
work
wasn't as
Ernie Chan
Alcala was like that was nuts. That stuff.
Yeah.
Chan's was lighter. He had a lighter touch, I think, but still, you know, a lot of great work in there.
Yeah.
Love both of them, have to say, equally for different reasons.
Yep.
But yeah.
Just great. Down here, especially, it's all line work, all horizontal lines here in the back. Very little even cross hatching, little touches here and there, but most of it's just horizontal wavy lines. You can tell he put it in by hand. That took a little while.
I wonder what the page rate was at this. When's this? 52, 53?
I'm not sure. Yeah, 53, 54.
So
About
they were
the
getting
same
what,
as it
20?
is now, I think.
Yeah, $20 or $30.
Probably. You're probably right.
Yeah.
It's probably closer to 60 or maybe 80.
Wow.
Which was a lot more than it is now.
Gaines paid
Yeah.
a little more per page than most publishers.
$80 for a page in what, 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago.
Yeah. It's a lot of
Might
money,
be
isn't it?
500 a page
Yeah.
now. So
From what I've read about and seen Gaines, he's a very generous man, wasn't he?
Gregarious. It was a
No,
goofy,
not generous. Yeah, I know,
goofy
but I
kind of
just see
guy. Yeah.
the things I've been reading, like he had more page rate. It took them all on to took him to Haiti or somewhere, didn't it, to celebrate to go and see why the guy had stopped his subscription and all. It cost $10,000 or something.
Well,
And-
see, he grew up in the comic business. His dad was co-owner for national periodicals.
Yeah.
MC DC. His dad was the one that approved Wonder Woman from Marston.
Right.
So they were all up there. You know, he got to see all these guys and realize that they were actual human beings, you know, instead of just cogs. Cogs in the great machine.
Everybody, remember that. We are human beings.
But I think that's why he was such a talent magnet. He paid. You know, he made these people feel their worth, and you know, and he narrowed down to Mad Magazine. He had his choice of people to work with. Just ended up with a whole new, unique talent pool. Everybody looking so different from each other, and yet still, you know, telling funny stories. Just great
knowing
stuff.
that you're appreciated makes a big difference when you're working
Oh,
for
yeah.
someone else.
Yeah. Yeah,
Big
that's right.
difference.
Charles in the house. 80 a page is $912.96 today. Thanks, Charles.
Wow.
Well, I tell you what, I'd be happy for 40.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
Get me a publisher that wants to pay me $40, the equivalent that is, and I'll work for him.
$40 a page.
Equivalent of.
The modern
The
equivalent.
equivalent of.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I'm not working for $40 a page for anyone ever again. Ever. The way I see it is, if somebody's going to pay you such low rates, you might as well just make your own things.
There you go.
And if you're going to have a low rate, make it for something that you want to do, rather than something somebody else wants you to do.
Yeah.
You know, I've worked on, you know, as you know, I worked for Panini and stuff, DC Marvel, and I got a reasonable rate from those guys, and that meant that they got put to the top of the list, and they got my loyalty for the time that I worked with them.
Yeah.
But you know, if I'm going to get a lower rate, it needs to be something that I want to work on, or it's something that is mine.
Yep.
I did actually lower my rates for everybody down to $110 for pencil and ink, which I think is a pretty good rate for what I produce. The upside of that for me is I keep the artwork.
That's
So
a good deal.
I keep the original. So for reducing that price down, I get to keep the physical artwork myself. And if you want to buy it, you have to pay more.
There you go.
Yeah,
Or I sell it myself later on. So, but definitely $40. No way, Jose. Never going to do that again.
No.
I'd rather get $40 a page from a book that's mine than a book
Yeah.
that's somebody else's. What
Yep.
what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Chancellorsville here by the great Jack Davis.
Yeah. Look at that flash on that cannon, and the way
Yeah.
he's left the barrel white because of the flash.
Right.
Yeah,
Isn't that
yeah, the
fantastic?
lighting on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
And the lighting here is just amazing. Yeah.
yeah, that's gorgeous, isn't it?
Is that just cross hatching on that flash, Randy?
It
Looks
is.
like
It's cross hatching.
Wow.
Wow.
All of this is line work here. There too. Yeah. Yep. There's not
Beautiful.
a single
Zip screen or dual shade wash in this at all. It's all lines, ink work.
Lovely. Look at that wheel as well. Fantastic,
Yeah.
isn't it? And the shadow from the guy
Amazing.
from the flash and everything. It's just absolutely genius, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really nice.
Really nice. Yeah.
Really nice.
It's not a Suede. Anyway,
Oh, I could tell you a joke about that.
it's just really nice. Zipatone back here. Along the back. This isn't though.
Is that see that the second tier that you just the second page of that soldier?
Uh-huh.
Is that rogue? Is
Yeah.
the other side? The other one?
Rogue
Look
Trooper.
at the
Here.
yeah, it's Rogue Trooper, isn't it? Running at you there.
It is a
on
little,
that last
isn't it?
panel.
Yeah.
It's-
could
I
be.
love the way that those pages have been constructed with the
Yeah.
4 panels in the middle of both of them, and they're
Right.
a sequence. Each one is like the 4 panel sequence, like it's one panel
Yeah.
broken down into 4. That's great.
I believe
at
you'd attribute that to Kurtzman.
Yes, yes.
Look at that.
Yeah,
The left page, the bottom 2 panels, the motion. He grabs the rifle and then he's pointing it down. Look at the. It's also it's animation, isn't it?
yeah.
Well, again, that's Davis. Davis's style is almost animated as it is.
This guy's face here. Great stuff.
Randy.
I have to draw what? An entire army. Oh, okay. That'll be an hour.
I want to ask you a question as an American, Randy. This is relevant to this. Why is it that when I see this kind of stuff and I see a film or a TV show about the American Civil War, why is the Union soldiers the bad guys? Why the Confederates always seem to be the good guys?
I don't think you see that in all of it. Certain people still glorify the South here.
Mm.
And not because of the fact that they want to promote slavery as much as just the culture and the way of life in the South at that point. It's a lot of romanticism. Gone with the Wind, for example. Pardon?
Yeah. They still had slaves in the North at that time, didn't they?
Not a lot. They did have some, yeah. Yeah, but they quickly changed once the Civil War started. The northern states dropped their slavery really quick.
I think it depends on when the stuff was made, what the current zeitgeist is.
Right.
So, for instance, North and South seemed to be quite even-handed. My wife made me watch that when I was younger.
Actually,
it Swayze in.
It wasn't as even-handed as a lot of the media portends it to be. The South was absolutely weaker. It's just that the North was so damn uncoordinated. And Lincoln kept yelling at his because everybody knew each other, especially the higher up politicians. They all knew that all the generals on both sides probably went to West Point together. Yeah. And Lincoln was constantly yelling at his army head to, beat these bastards and get it done, get it over with. And they just kept dragging their heels. That's why they went through on the North side so many different leaders over and over again until they landed with who they got.
What I meant from the portrayal of that was that it was from an emotional perspective. It kind of made everybody people. It wasn't saying one side is evil and one side is good. It portrayed characters on both sides.
the north. The
and kind of
north. Go ahead. Sorry.
and kind of made it that this wasn't about the north is evil or the south is evil, because it depends on what side you see your bias. You
Yeah.
see the north as bad. That's because you see it as an encroaching governmental overreach of trying to encompass everybody into the states. And if you're
Right.
from the north, you see the south as being, part of the slavery and part of that whole sort of lifestyle. But if you come away from it like a Brit looking at this and seeing it from the outside, north and south that I remember of it anyway, it seemed to portray everybody as humans. Do you know what I mean? They had
Yeah.
their own biases and they had their own opinions, but there were good and evil people on both sides. Do you know what I mean? It was like it was
Very
making them
much
out to
so.
be
Yeah.
human. Yeah.
Yep. But once the North won, once it looked like they were going to just trounce the South, they went through and ravaged the South. Sherman's march to the sea and the destruction of New Orleans and all sorts of just
But you see,
barbarian
that's where
activity.
That's where they would look at the north, and you might get, say, you might see read a book or see a show or see a film where the north are the bad guys because they've won and they've routed somewhere. And so it makes them look obviously bad because you shouldn't be going and routing things. Once you've won. But it's a matter of perception, isn't it?
It is. Yep. The North won largely because of its heavy industry that produced more and better weapons. Yeah. Not because of any type of coordination. That's why they were worried there for a while because General Lee was a major statistician and knew how to conduct an army, kind of like a Patton equivalent. It's a really interesting war to study, not one that I'd ever want to, have to be in. Just crazy times.
No, the wars are awful anyway, but yeah.
This was a particularly bloody and awful war.
Yeah.
Kerblam. Stonewall Jackson. Or great Jack Davis.
Yeah.
Light source here. Light.
We were saying last week, I think it was his work. Look at the top panels there where the background is just solid black and he's not put any blacks on the figures apart from the ones in the front. The guys in the back to make them stand out.
Pulls them forward. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing. and then you drop down a tier and it's totally the opposite. You got the background in sort of in white and all the heavy blacks. It's just amazing,
isn't it? That's just too good.
They're just amazing.
All cross hatching here. Back here. Same here. Oh, just
those were good panels for him to draw because he got lots of feet in, and there's the soul at the top.
Yep. That's probably why he got the story. Yeah.
He never lets you down, does he?
Jack, you get to draw feet. Oh, okay. Yeah. There we are. That's the end of that. That's the end of that book. That's the EC library right there. That's what they were printing at the time. Over a span of just a couple of years.
Wow.
On to volume 4. The new Two-Fisted Tale. Great John Severin cover. Look at that.
Oh, look at that.
Wow. Just little touches of light blue back here to emphasize the gun smoke.
Is that Marie again doing that?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Wow.
Difference of opinion.
Yeah.
We start with Jack Davis, gunfire. Frontline combat killed in action. So when frontline stopped. But Two Fisted Tales kind of shifts their focus at this point to more Western stories.
Harvey Kurtzman.
Westerns were raging back then.
Pa. Look at the black work on it. Isn't it fantastic? Look at that top left panel there with that, where he's firing the rifle on the left-hand page.
Yep.
Look at the background.
Mm-hmm.
Really faint.
Same here.
Yeah. And down from the
background. Yeah.
It's just amazing, isn't it?
Just line work. Just simple line work. A little bit of cross hatching. Just thin lines, just to drop it back to make this pop. Beautifully done. Get the shadow work here.
Yeah. He killed his pa.
Yep.
He killed my paw.
Wow.
More line work here. The wet street. Here in the smoke. Still line work. Nice 9-panel grid. It's the time of High Noon, right? High Noon was out right around this time. Gary Cooper.
You know that on the left-hand page there, that centre spread, see where he's white against the black, like we've been saying in the last part? Yeah, that's like Ditko does that as well, doesn't he? Is it Mr. A?
Yeah.
He does a lot of that stuff, doesn't he?
Well, Mr. A was that. Did we ever go through that material? I've got a collection of Mr. A stuff that we probably need to look at.
Yeah.
Mr. A was a study in negative space and positive space too, because he was all black and white. You know,
Yeah.
there is black and there is white. There is no gray. If you're gray, you're black. You know, black meaning evil, white meaning good. Mr. A just went through and dealt justice,
Yeah. Good or bad.
good or bad. Yeah.
Takes the villain, throws him off the roof for justice. You know,
Great stuff. Always wanted, when I was doing the newspaper, I always wanted to print it, a couple of Mr. A stories just to see what kind of reaction we'd get. Because the opinion on him was so hard. Just rigid. The politics on it.
That's why I ran Judge. That's one of my thinking about Judge Dredd, other than the fact that it was really pretty, the adventure strip. I expected to get some flack, but everybody loved it, thought it was great, knew it was a political statement, and just rode with it. It was great.
And again,
Good
white
name.
lines here. Beautifully done.
Love the
Westerns.
solid blacks. Just
Yeah.
not completely unafraid to use them.
Westerns were the rage back during this period too. That's why they switched to mostly Westerns. You're seeing that Jack Davis style really coming through here. A lot of cartoony
Yeah.
work, but beautifully done. This year especially. It's great.
Is that the kid growing up now?
I think so.
I'm surprised those guys are still alive after all that time.
Yeah.
Killing his paw.
20 years in the Old West.
Yeah. Done well, didn't they?
For a moment, the big crowded room had been silent. Now there is a sudden harsh scraping of chairs. Jack's guns sweep up. There is a tinkling sound of a breaking glass with smooth, murderous precision. Jack Slaughter moves effortlessly to action. More with the blurring speed that you might learn in 4 years of daily practice. The deadly speed of the professional gunfighter.
Pew pew pew
Pew, pew, pew.
pew pew.
No bam, blam, blams needed.
Those
Now that-
bad guys. Sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
Carry on.
No. Go ahead.
I was going to say that those bad guys remind me of those on Josie Wales when Sam Bottom pretends he's ill. Is that you,
yeah.
Pa? He says, "I ain't your pa." Shoot. Have you seen that? I ain't your pa. Brilliant film. That best Western ever now for me.
This was modern comics. You'd get the same blam, 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 blam. That blocked
Blam,
out
blam, blam,
looking
blam.
mess. Yeah.
Over and over again.
Blam 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 blam.
Yep. Next read.
Sorry, I've just got to say this. Just that it just makes me laugh. Back to that Josie Wales when he says when they've gone in, when Sam Bottoms is pretending to be ill, and the bad guy's friend comes through and he says, "What we got here?" He says, I got me a Josie Wales. Like there's 50,000 of them. You know what I mean? I got me a Josie. Sorry, it's just amusing. Just makes me smile. I just love that film.
That's a great film. Great film.
It's been a long time since I've seen it. Yeah.
Pay me later, Josie Wales.
From a rash of fantastic films.
It's a brilliant film.
There's a few of those American films with Clint Eastwood after he'd done the spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
It was like an Americanized version of it, and it just very good. Josie Wales is great. I like
High Plains Drifter.
Yeah, High Plains Drifter. What was the remake of High Plains Drifter where he was the
was the Unforgiven?
No, I don't think so.
Unforgiven was a great film too, though. Yeah. Gene Hackman and that's great.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. No, it was Pale Rider.
Pale Rider.
Okay, yeah.
It was the remake of High Plains Drifter because High Plains Drifter was a spaghetti western, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
High Plains and Pale Rider was like a modern version of it. Back when modern version wasn't a death knell for a film. I don't think it was quite as good because it didn't quite have the mystery, but it was like a cowboy ghost story. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. And Clint was just Clint in it.
Oh yeah.
At his best. Yeah.
Yep. Battle Here by Reed Crandall kicking in.
Horses again.
It's an elephant.
That's a great elephant. Look at that.
It's an elephant. Some African native warriors here along with Roman soldiers.
Battle, is this a bit of Roman stuff? Excellent.
55 BC, old Julius Caesar took a rough, tough, swaggering bunch of professional soldiers across the channel from Gaul and turned them loose to maul the British tribes. Then, not for almost 100 years, did the Romans go back to Britain. When in 43 AD, the Emperor Claudius Caesar crushed the tribes in one decisive battle.
There's a good coincidence with Claudius. I started watching I, Claudius again last night.
Ah, right. Okay.
It's fantastic. Really amateurish when you see it, but it's fantastic. It's really
the
clever.
acting is superb.
Yeah.
But you see, you've got the Europeans complaining about all the Brits going there and acting up.
Yeah.
It's like you've been doing it to us for thousands of years.
That's right.
Romans, French, Vikings, you've all had a poke.
and there's nobody had more of a poke of Southeast Asia than the French.
No.
It's their second language.
So all we're doing is we're just exporting all the, all those naughty people over there so they can get drunk in your bars.
Charles wanted me to point out. Hang on here, just a second. Present to share screen.
I want to know why Charles, if he's up, why is he not on?
There's probably not enough coffee yet. Wanted to point out that Uncle Leo was in Josie
There-
Wales.
There he is, yeah.
Ah, yeah.
I'm not your pa.
I think Charles may be in and out of consciousness.
That's early enough
Oh,
in the
yeah, I've
morning.
got
I can.
comments
That's
on that.
understandable. It's understandable.
More Roman. It's a little bit open. It's a little more of an open style here.
Yeah.
Than the last Crandall that we saw. A little quicker done. Still beautiful though. Wonderful solids back here for background. I'm just going to keep turning unless you guys want to see something.
Okay.
Boom. Here we go. Some nice war.
This who drew this?
Reed
Severin.
Crandall.
This is Reed Crandall.
Oh, Crandall. All this stuff looks like it's sculpted.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
This is inking style. So I've got an archive book of Blackhawks we should probably go through one of these days. It's like this, real pretty.
Charles says he doesn't have his makeup on.
Oh, there you go. He says makeup not on. This is Two Fisted Tales, number 36. 36, yes. Number 36. That's the way out there. Bit of Ben-Hur work in there. Yeah. It's crazy good. There's an upside down horse.
Upside down horse.
That's brutal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether I'd rather face the shell you didn't see that blew you to pieces, or watch those fall down from the sky and land on your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, one's more gruesome, I think.
Yeah.
6 balls of flaming pitch hurled by specially prepared siege catapults fall from the heavens.
Yeah, you have this sort of opinion of war, and I think it's largely created for you by the media and by
The
government.
movies. Yeah.
The war, Vikings and Romans, that was hideous war, and it was so barbaric. And the war nowadays isn't quite. It's cleaner. It's more tactical, but at the end of the day, people still lose limbs. They still get hacked up. They just get hacked up by bullet fire and by bombs and all kinds of stuff, instead of being hacked on a field with an axe. And it's like, okay, I wouldn't fancy losing to someone in a hand-to-hand battle and then being hacked to death with an axe. But at the same time, I wouldn't fancy getting half my body ripped apart by a mine that I'd stood on and and then bleed out. It's like, what's worse? It's all hideous, all of it.
Oh yeah.
As you know, my dad was a paratrooper in the war, and he would never watch these war films.
I can understand.
Because I said to him, why not? And he said, because they don't show you what you don't want to see what was going on. But which is why Saving Private Ryan was so good, if that's the right word, because a lot of the veterans who'd been on Omaha Beach said it was amazing.
Yeah.
But Tim Quinn, he talks about his dad a bit, and his dad was kind of quite anti it all, about the whole sort of making out that we were heroes. And this is obviously a personal opinion of his. We weren't heroes; we just had to do what we did.
Yeah,
and
right.
Glorifying it is not a good way forward.
Yeah.
One of the things that got my dad about it was when you get people like John Wayne and they get shot and they sort of slump over and go down on the knees and then fall forward.
Yeah.
My dad was shot in the arm, and he was in a bomb crater, and he said he didn't realize he'd been hit until he realized 2 seconds later that he was 10 feet further back in the crater.
Oh God. Jesus.
you know, and he got
Yeah.
hit by one of those NG-42 things, and he got, I think I told you, he got 2 bullets either side of his upper left arm, the bone,
Oof.
and a millimeter either way, and he would have lost the arm.
Good God.
Wow.
And the bullets went right. He had 4 wounds. He had entry and exit wounds, and it just went through him.
Man. Oh,
Wow.
So anyway,
so lucky he didn't lose his arm.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, also, all those solid blacks in here, the way they've been spotted, and then look at that shadowing on that elephant. That's
Yeah.
It's all line work here.
Yeah, beautiful.
Same here. This is all line work on that chariot.
Yeah.
I like the way he spotted the blacks on the shields at the bottom there.
Mm-hmm.
Make the guy stand out against the blank shield. That's great. Tiberius Claudius Caesar.
AD 54. Weird fantasy, still going. It's picture stories from the Bible, still going. Who's next? Another Sever.
Ooh, look at
The
that.
great Jack Davis illustration for an ad for the EC Fan Addict Club.
Yeah.
Justice.
Wow. Is that on that those feet? Is that his Achilles tendon he's drawn there on that right foot? It's fantastic, isn't it? Or is it part of his boot?
Here?
Yeah, it's his Achilles
Achilles,
tendon.
I believe.
On the back of his.
I believe that's a moccasin. Yeah.
No. I'm talking about his Achilles tendon on the
tendon
on
his heel.
Yeah. That's fantastic,
where
isn't
the
it?
foot is just dropped, is slouched.
Yeah. Amazing.
This is just screams Kurtzman layout to me.
Yeah.
The whole thing does, especially with the way the shoes are hanging there. Looks like something he would have done.
Beautiful.
Zip tone work here. No justice. Nice flat screen. Right there. Pardon me. Beautiful train too.
No, this thing in
Varmint.
my boyfriend's back.
Yeah. Varmints.
Where'd they come from?
Romeo and Juliet by Dire Straits.
Yeah.
Redskin. Back to the train. Let's love that train. Beautiful.
Wop.
Might have been a zip screen.
Is he pushing his head in the ground there on the top panel? Is he stomping on his head? Top right.
Here? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're walking over him.
Right.
Ford is quickly enveloped in a murderous battle, enveloped in a murderous battle as the surprised whites fight back desperately to avoid massacre. Through the savage, heaving brawl stalks Sham Tamga. Stalks the grim gray wolf of the Pawnee with its bodyguard.
Do you know what I find incredible about this artwork is that these guys, these masters, as we're calling them, is the fact that, same with Kirby and everybody, it was like when John Severin had drawn this page, he'd just put it in an envelope and send it off, and he'd never see it again. He probably didn't even see the printed comic, because Kirby stopped looking at his printed comics. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're looking at it now 50, 60, 70 years later and in awe of this stuff. And they were just blank page, fill it up, put it in an envelope, blah, 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 and all that. It's just incredible that they would never see it again. They probably even forgot about this page by the end of next week.
Yeah.
If by not the end of today. It's just another page done and bring on the next one.
Probably ship them in a story at a time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it a bit weird because I have there is a little bit of a wrench when you let a page go.
Yeah.
And obviously these guys were knocking them out so quickly and so proficiently that they didn't have time to think that way. They just wanted to get paid, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that they produced masterful work along the way. But you do your own page. Like I say, I drop my prices so I keep my pages so that I can sell them. But when I do sell a page, when I put it in the envelope and know that I'm never going to see it again, there is a little bit of a wrench in there, a little bit.
And then you wonder, should you ask for more, and should you just kept it? And
some of those things that they come to, but most often it's just the fact that I don't know why, because you're producing this artwork for other people, aren't you?
But the artwork is a piece of you, isn't it?
Yeah, you're trying to communicate to other people, so it's for other people. But the physical piece that you have, that you've put your pen down or your ink on, you're right, it's part of you, and you're kind of letting it go. And I think maybe that's the difference between that, rather than the tools and the feedback you get from paper and screen and all the rest of it. I think that may well be the main difference between physically inking a page and digitally inking a page.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's not just about whether you can sell an item or not, or how the thing is produced. It's like, it's a physical thing. You've actually made a physical thing that takes up 3-dimensional space in your life, and you're letting that go. Whereas when you let something go digitally, emotionally, it means nothing. That's not to put anyone down that does digital work, because I've done plenty of digital work, but letting that go, I've done commissions digitally and thought nothing of them when they've gone.
Yeah.
Because I have a duplicate, I have the original, it's there, and it's always going to be there in digital format until our local star shoots an EMP at us and we lose all our data. But the physical thing, when you actually physically create a piece of artwork on paper in the real world, that's there, it's tangible. And when you let that go, there's a little bit of a wrench every time.
And back during these days, the only way you could keep a copy of this work is to have it photostated.
Yeah.
You'd have to make a photograph of it in order to keep it. No copy machines, no digital file, no nothing. You did the work, you sent the work in.
It's great. I've got a scanner that 10 years ago, something like that, cost me 300 or 400 quid. And it's it's a scanner and a printer and everything. And if I was to get that again now, it would probably cost half the price because of technology moving forward. And it means that I can scan stuff in, send it off to print, and I've still got those originals with me.
Yeah.
I don't know what my kids are going to do when I cop it. Burn it, probably.
Yeah.
Dangerous man here. Severin and Elder. Bill Elder's going over and inking John Severin.
Wow.
Blam, blam, blam. Blah, blam.
It may be just the back, but I think the two guys on the left, primarily, it's kind of got a Bolland-esque kind of feel to it.
Where
I
here?
think it's no, on the Dangerous
And
Man
Dangerous
page.
Man.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
those two guys. Yeah, I think it's probably the fine lines.
Yeah, I'm
that
going to say
he-
it's that kind of a sheen, isn't it? That
yeah,
Brolin
yeah,
does.
yeah,
Beautiful brushwork here.
yeah. It's gorgeous.
Somebody with a fantastically steady hand and a nice brush.
Mr. Elder.
Going through and adding all of this feathering work here, the sheen here. Just beautifully done, expertly done. A little bit of a zip screen back behind here to make these guys pop out. Cross hatching here. Just a combination of things to get the job done.
Huh. It's what Charles has got to say.
All right, there we are. The only kind of work he rejected on moral grounds were their horror titles. When William M. Gaines told him that this was a weak excuse for the fact that he just couldn't draw horror. Who was that? You talking Stanley? Didn't invent fandom.
I don't know.
Talking
who's
about Severn.
about.
Severn
Severin,
made him a
Severin.
drawing so horrific that Gaines had a nightmare afterwards. According to some sources, it even made him vomit.
Wow.
Severn
There you
just
go.
didn't want to do horror,
He just
though.
didn't want to do it. No.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever seen a printed Severn horror story. I think John went on to run many years with Cracked magazine. This is another magazine whose offers Severn refused out of principle was Hugh Hefner's Playboy. Yeah.
Must have missed a well-paying gig there.
Yeah.
Gotta
I
have
bet.
our standards, though. You know.
Yeah.
Can't blame a person for his morality.
No.
I wonder what these guys would think of all the booby covers you get on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
They wouldn't think much, I would imagine.
They wouldn't be impressed, would they?
No.
And that's not me giving you an opinion about what I think about booby covers on Kickstarter. It's simply an observation of what they might think.
Well, for the time, especially the mores of the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't hit that circle template era until Image. And then I don't think Image gets enough credit for actually castrating the industry.
No, it gets a lot.
The
of credit.
retailers went through and ordered all of this Image material, and all of the independents just dried up right at the same time. It's pretty terrible.
Image is held up as this thing that revolutionized the industry, and those artists got out from the yoke of the big publishers. But most of them, if they didn't make their own businesses in something else, they went back to those publishers in the end anyway. It was all about money. It was all it was about. It certainly wasn't about the industry. And they, it's only really recently that I've truly understood that they damaged the industry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Saw it happen. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. It was on the way anyway. Let's face it.
Yes.
It's not like they were the only people. In fact, they were just a part of the jigsaw.
Exactly. Yep. And I keep saying that there needs to be an impartial documentary put out about Image Comics, because it's really a lesson in how much money is too much money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because everybody ends up having almost a tragic story, all of the founders, because of them getting too much money. Except Silvestri, who lost a lot of it from his medical bills.
Yeah.
But a lot of that stuff went to foolish means and let's say different vices. McFarlane was the most business out of all of them. He bought a race car and some baseballs that are almost worthless today. during the steroids era of baseball. Our great Severn. We're on a 9-panel grid here.
this really does remind me of Gibbons on
Yeah.
on Watchmen. Just
Yes. Nice set of books there, though. Sweet stuff. Swordplay. Chop.
chop.
Hiya Yag. No chop necessary. Look at that. This is almost photographic here. It's beautiful inkwork.
Mm.
Just Elder kicking it out. Look at that. It's just gorgeous. That panel is amazing. This guy in front here almost looks African American.
Yeah, I thought he was.
Might be. Just fantastic. And to cut the face off right there, right at the ear. It's just amazing. That's very Elder here in the look.
Yeah, look at that chin.
Style.
Look at that chin.
Ka-ching.
Ching.
Are those
Yeah.
guys in the last panel Chinese?
Korean,
What the heck?
probably.
Well, yeah,
They look
that's what I
yeah.
mean.
communist hats on.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only this guy doesn't quite look.
No.
I think it. No, I
Korean.
think it is. I think it is. It's got quite a flat nose there. I think. It
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Still, just amazing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, isn't it? And look, the hair, just the hair, just the hair underneath the caps there on that panel.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shall we keep going? Here's issue 37.
It's 25 too, so we've got time.
Bugles and battle cries. You want to go through half of this?
Yeah.
The
John Severin again. Yep.
Yep.
Always worth looking at. Look at that English Bobby there. Look with that in the at the bottom there. See him? What's he doing on
I
there?
always like, because the Captain Britain run gets a bit of a hard time because of the portrayal of British, just the British environment, and also the cops, the policemen in it.
Mhm.
But I don't have a problem with that. It made them far more interesting and fun.
People are too wrapped up in finding a problem, aren't they? Than
all the
enjoying
time.
what's being
all the
seen,
time.
you know,
Yeah,
shown.
just enjoy what there is. You don't have to, not everything's perfect, and you can always. It's like when I say, "Oh, I'm very shallow when it comes to films." I'm easily.
Well, the thing is, you
pleased.
see, is that
but I just try to find the enjoyment in what.
yeah,
I'm watching,
this stuff's
so.
what 70 years old, right?
Mhm.
And you can see the stereotypes in it, but so
Yeah.
what? That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Nobody's
yeah,
nobody's putting anybody down. It's how people spoke and it's how they
Yeah.
behaved in those times. And I'm not saying
Right.
whether it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's a depiction of the times. Like we were saying about the Romans before. The Romans have blended into this wonderful people, haven't they? Well, they were murdering. They conquered the
They
world. You don't
they
conquer
conquered
the
the
world by
world.
not
Yeah.
upsetting somebody.
Yeah.
You know,
and
right.
before, and after them, the Turks and.
Yeah.
The Ottoman Empire, and
Yeah.
there were so many empires, and they were all of them bloodthirsty.
That's right. Yeah, because nobody says, "Oh yeah, come and rule us now." You know,
No, nobody
There's
says
gonna be a
that.
fight.
No, so it's you really have to take things from take them as they were meant to be at the time. And if certain things in them are not appropriate anymore, then you just have to accept that.
Yeah.
Just enjoy them for what they were.
Yep. Taking
and
it in the
also-
context of the day.
Yeah, and don't use that as some kind of tool to hit it with, you know, to
Cancel
put it
it, yeah.
down with, because you know there's art, there's beauty to be had in all of those things. It doesn't, you know,
Yeah.
just because some of the things aren't necessarily, you know, palatable, doesn't mean that the rest of it can't be enjoyed.
Yeah.
Look at those lovely feet on that Jack Davis ad.
Yeah, look at that.
Chug a lug, chug a lug, chug a lug. Yeah.
Look at that.
They all love her. Look at that.
They do, don't they?
So don't get your own copy. Yeah. What a cover.
Look at that.
Yeah,
I
It's just-
dreamed I went to a fraternity smoker in my Panic magazine. Yeah.
you see, that guy says, "Say this gal has got it," and the other guy says, "The second issue of Panic."
Yeah.
Took down a skirt. Brilliant. What a cover. Gee. Boy, I'd like to pour over this issue.
Yeah. Look at that tongue.
Oh dear.
Oh, that's
Don't
the
get
best
your own
part.
copy. Yeah.
Chug-a-lug. Brilliant.
And we have John Severn again.
Yeah, I was looking at
Just,
that.
yeah.
More great
that
feathering work here.
Yeah, it's
That
wonderful,
muscles,
isn't it?
those muscles there down his back, and just great. Not overly done. Could you imagine? It's like
Yeah.
some artists these days that those people would just be drawn with spectacular musculature,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it would just be ridiculous.
yeah.
I mean, in our Cull book, obviously, you know, Brawl and Cull are quite big chaps, but I don't go over the top with it. Do you know what I mean? I just
Yeah.
they're obviously fit and muscular, but they're not. You can't see every sinew, you know, and every vein. I don't have vein popping.
Yeah.
They're not bodybuilders. They're just fit and tough.
Yeah, it's like
can
when you
see-
see Muhammad Ali and people from that time,
Yeah,
big guys, muscular. But then you get Arnie, who's got veins popping out, and it doesn't
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
It doesn't work.
well, if
does
you
it,
look at
for me?
somebody, if you look at like I mean, you look at like Frank Bruno. He used to be so cut, shredded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like
Yeah.
every muscle. And yet you look at Lennox Lewis after him,
Yeah,
and he
exactly.
didn't look like that. He was
No.
a bigger, bulkier kind of person, and
Yeah.
he wasn't quite as cut. And the same with, in all fairness, the same with
Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
You can see now. I mean, you know, obviously he's got a big pectoral muscles, and his stomach muscles do pop on occasion, but he's not like all ripped up with loads and loads of veins. He's just a muscular, fit body, you know. And there's the difference between bodybuilders and fit, strong,
Athletes,
muscular
yeah.
people, athletes. There's a definite difference.
That's why Arnold did movies and wasn't in the Olympics, you know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
If you look,
yeah. I mean,
look
there's
at
a
that.
place for it, but you know.
Look at the right hand page there. Those two guys at the top right look like they're having a pee,
Yeah, they do. Yep.
standing at the urinal.
There's somebody. No, what they're doing is there's somebody down there in the cellar, and they're flashing them.
Yeah.
You can tell who the intellectuals are here in this story because they're
I thought you were going to say us then. We're the intellectuals, Russ. Sorry, go ahead.
It does look like they're taking a piss. A little bit of cards. Whoops.
Yeah. Scream.
Smash up there.
Love that shot of him with the cigarette there. It's great.
Yeah.
And he's got his pipe.
Who's got the pipe? Oh yeah, look.
And the top
He
of
must
the
be
page.
intelligent.
Here. Yeah.
That guy he's talking
Carry
to.
on closer.
That guy you just pointed to there with the pipe on the other page,
Yeah.
on the left-hand page, he's either talking to Mr. Spock or Jim Shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim, that's
Look at that
Jim Shooter.
Jim Shooter before Jim Shooter.
I think there's a code here. If you've got a pipe and a suit. Okay,
Yeah.
you're an evil CEO. If you've got a pipe and a cardigan, you could well be a doctor or a teacher. And
Or
if you've
Reed
got
Richards.
if you've got a pipe and glasses, you're probably a professor. But if
Yeah.
you have a
Yeah.
pipe, glasses, and a pork pie hat, you're a genius.
If you got a cigarette, you're a thug.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
I was going to say if you got a
Sorry,
fag, but that would be misconstrued.
Yeah, we can't say that. Not in America.
No.
I certainly can't say that without
Yeah,
erupting
that is
the algorithm.
slang for a cigarette in the UK, just to let the
Yes.
algorithm know.
The algorithms always listen. It's a nice.
Since when does a
Look at
bullet
that.
firing say? Since when does a bullet being fired, a gun being fired, say snick?
Snick, yeah, what's that all about? Wolverine.
So when you don't have one in the chamber, you run out of bullets. It's snick, snick, right?
Well, something's hitting on the
Snick,
next
snick.
panel.
Snick.
Well, there was a POW here.
Perhaps they're
Well,
air
snick,
guns.
snick.
Perhaps they're air pistols, mate.
Yeah.
It's a couple POWs.
Pow's all right,
Chow.
but not snick. Yeah, snick, blam, pow, pow.
Look at that face there. It's about as cartoony
Many
as
years
it
ago,
ever
when I was
gets.
working working at this place, and we did this idiom line of comics. Me and this guy wrote he wrote the dialogue for some pages we've been working on, and we did it in the sales office at lunchtime, and we were going pow pow butter 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 and writing it on these pages to be lettered. And then when we'd finished, the girls were there and they said, "You two are mad," because we were going pow pow pow, doing all this stuff,
Yeah.
and we weren't
Oh,
15,
girls. Girls, eh? Ugh.
girls, who'd have them? Look at that. It looks like the guy in Josie Wales, isn't he? Oh,
John
no, the
Seven
guy,
again.
the juicy fruit guy in Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah. Warrior. Just showing
I like the way that these what they call this week Indigenous Americans are always very philosophical.
Yeah, that's a trope.
It is.
They're not they're not all like that. That's just this
No.
grouping everybody. Oh, that's what they're all like. It's like, yeah, they all do rain dances as well. Don't be stupid.
Exactly. It's a little bit of screen work there. Other than that, it's all lines.
That shading under his cheeks.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh yeah.
Oh, there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all line work.
Lovely.
Nice hand. I'd venture to say that's off a photograph right there.
Yeah,
Where? Which one?
the bottom
This one.
centre.
That one, you think? No, I suppose he's obviously gone out and got reference to this.
Yeah.
And that racially, he's captured them as well, which is kind of difficult, really, because it's like when you look at different racial characteristics. I would say picking out Asian, Oriental, or black is probably quite. I would say, personal perspective, is easier to pick out those identifiers than it is to say pick out American Indian.
Yeah.
You've seen this slightly bigger nose that he's using and what have you, but that can be sort of stereotypical. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Rather than
Yep.
actually what they look like.
Yeah.
So it's tricky, but he's managed to do it. He's managed to do it.
The other thing about these kind of strips as well is that I just said that they're always portrayed as philosophical, but they're always portrayed as savages, and clearly they weren't. You know, they were just people. They were people, and they had families and civilization, and they were just as clever as anybody else. They just dressed differently.
You've got this sort of mystical aspect of them that's very much a trope.
Yeah.
They were a civilization of their own, just a different version of civilization, and they had their own. You know, they had people. You know, not they had braves, they had hunters, they had people that cooked, and they did whatever they did. They were just people, and you can pick out any aspect of them in the same way that you can pick out any aspect of any group of people, and there will always be philosophers and hunters, and
they're just like today, like everybody. We're just struggling to get through, aren't we?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they were struggling. In the period, they were obviously up against people that were flooding into the areas that they lived for hundreds, thousands of years.
And just killing them.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt who the bad guys were.
Genocide.
Oh yeah.
But that is the way the world has worked for an awful long time. In the same way, there's no doubt in that the Romans were the bad guys.
Yeah.
In exactly the same way. So there's some lovely those panels on the left hand side there on the middle panels. They're great. Yeah.
It's all working.
Oh yeah.
Great perspective on that very last panel on the other page, on the right hand page, with that spear coming out.
Yeah. I would say driving the point home. That'd be a little funny.
Yeah.
And just the whole action here, and then this shot, very, very well done.
And lovely perspective on the bottom right hand panel there. He's putting the spear towards the camera. That's That's it. That one. That's great.
Very wordy, this story, isn't it?
The lettering on this is larger.
Right.
So it's actually up a couple points here.
Right.
I don't know if they were trying out a new letterer or what, but it can be overbearing. Like right here. It's a lot of letters.
Again, it just shows you is this John Severin?
Yes.
Just shows you how good they were, these guys. He said, they got the lettered pages and they had a space to fill.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that puts us at the center.
Right.
Another great EC Addict illustration here.
Look at that skeleton. That skeleton with his foot in that trap with a boot on it.
And it's not even in the trap.
No. That's what I mean. He could have got out. He could have got out. Mind you, look at the dagger in his chest. That's why he didn't get out.
Had a dagger. Yeah.
That little kid in the middle.
Stupid.
Are you the chapter president?
Could you just turn the page back one? What do you reckon? How much of this was penciled before they went to ink? Do you think?
I think that if there was an inker, the pencils would be more finished.
John was the inker here. Yeah.
Right. Well, I would imagine these pencils were quite simple then, and because he's inking. That's what I was about
to say. I reckon the fact that there's text already on here, I reckon there was very light penciling.
Yeah.
And that most of this is done on the inks.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see that with the Conan, the Buscema Alcala, can't you? You've seen those pencils. They're very, very simple. They're just brilliant. The way it just captures the line, and you just know exactly what's going on. And then Alcala comes on and does what he does with it, and he turns into fabulous artwork.
Someone knew Alcala's capabilities. That's what it was.
Yeah.
He says, "Why he's not going to throw a lot of detail in because Alcala's going to go through and throw that in anyway."
Yeah. No, I've just been. It's just the way that I think this is probably the thing that interests me most about the process. Is if you're well, I mean, you look at someone like John Buscema with Alcala, and it's not a case of, oh, well, I'm inking myself, so I'll just put those pencils in light. He put them in light for someone who like Alcala, who didn't need all that detail. So it doesn't seem to matter whether you're penciling for yourself to be inking yourself, or whether you're penciling for someone who's incredibly capable. There's like this level. And I suppose some of it is down to the fact that I was, for a long time, so afraid of inks and afraid of getting it right. Do you know what I mean? On the page. That my pencils have been sort of quite finished. And then when I've gone to inks, I'm going over those pencils. There's a bit of embellishment there, but I'm following the pencils quite closely. And I'm trying to get to a point where I'm literally just laying down the basics with maybe a light source, and then doing the heavy lifting at the ink end.
I also, when I'm
rendering a detail,
when I'm drawing, I always find sometimes enjoying that particular drawing, and you carry on. You know, but some you just leave because you're going to go over it with ink. You leave it. But sometimes I find myself drawing and really doing a fully rendering because I'm really enjoying the actual drawing and thinking, oh, this is pretty good, you know, for a change.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah. So but I have been experimenting with that, and the plus side of it is that the lighter you pencil and the more you let the ink do the job, the quicker overall the product becomes.
Yeah.
So the page gets turned in much quicker.
Yeah, because you're not doing it twice.
Pencil all the way and then ink all the way. Yeah.
We're gonna call it there. Next week we'll look at Homemade Blitz. John Severn and runs a little crazy with dual shape.
Look at that copper there and a bowler hat.
There's a bowler hat. There's a cap.
Ruddy Irishman again. Yeah.
Lubber duck. God bless you, Governor. Apples and pears. Love the Queen.
More next time, folks.
No stereotypes here, folks.
None at all. So we look at Two Fisted Tales one more time. Probably only one, maybe two more times. And we'll be through this.
I like the way John Severin's signature looks similar to the grass on that page. It fits in well with the grass.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Folks, we want to thank you for being here today. All of you. Our numbers are large, and it's all good, folks. We deeply appreciate you stopping by and enjoying this work with us. We show this stuff off because we love it. No matter how critical we might get on little points here and there, we do that out of the love of the art form and the love of the work. So we hope you'll swing back by or take a look at us on our archives. We're archived over at the Indie Comics Network YouTube channel, the Comic Book Black Belt YouTube channel, and the Randy Zim YouTube channel. You can catch all of the older shows there, or most of them at least. Indie Comics Network, you'll catch them all there. We've been doing this for over a year, about a year and a half now, and loving it very much. So again, deeply appreciate you being here. Russ, tell folks how they can find you.
You can find me at russleach.com. Sign up for the email list there. You find out about all the stuff that we're doing. The Shadow Kingdom's still available for one more week over at Fund My Comic. Go grab yourself a copy there. And the Atlantean will be starting production soon. That's black and white, 48 pages.
It's already in production.
It's already in production. Yeah, Randy's in production. I'm not, but Randy is. So that's already on its way. So sign up for the email list so we can tell you all about it. We're absolutely stoked for this product. It's everything that we're doing is a labour of love. It really is. We absolutely adore the writings of Robert E. Howard and the fact that we're moving on with it. So please go sign up at the email list at russleach.com or catch me on the social medias or whatever. And you can find out all about it there.
There you are. Glenn, tell folks how they can find you.
You can find me on New Haven Publishing and Barnes & Noble. You can find me on Amazon. And you can find me on Fund My Comic. And don't forget the power of Google. Put my name in and you'll see lots of stuff there. And go to Fund My Comic and have a look at this.
Power of Google.
The power of Google.
Power of Google. If in doubt, Google it.
That's right. When in doubt, Google it out.
Yeah.
And folks, I've been your host. Yeah.
Sorry, Ron.
Been your host. No, you're good. Been your host, Randy Zimmerman. We are here 2 times a week. Friday mornings at 5 a.m. for Comics by Night, and Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. for the Sunday Funnies, where this Sunday, speaking of Alcala, we're going to be looking at some Alcala work in the form of the adaptation of The Land of Oz. Great Marvel treasury.
Wait.
Some fantastic artwork there.
I can't wait. I'm so looking forward to that.
I'm really looking forward to that too.
My time stream is all messed up.
It just goes to prove that
CERN.
it goes to prove that time exists all at the same time.
That's right.
All at the same time. Yeah.
The only reason there is time is so that everything doesn't happen all at once.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let that sink in, everyone.
That's right. Let that sink in.
That could be really embarrassing.
That's a Buckaroo Banzaiism right there. Yeah.
Here's a thought for the day. Have you noticed that every time you see people who say they see ghosts, they're always Roman soldiers? Nobody ever sees a Viking or a Civil War guy. And have you noticed also that when people talk about reincarnation, like Shirley MacLaine, she's got to be Cleopatra and Joan of Arc.
Yeah.
She's never that 3-year-old that got stuck up a chimney in London in 1809.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah. Those aren't the memories you want to hold on to.
Yeah. And Ricky Gervais said he went to a party of reincarnated people. He said, so there were only 2 Napoleons then.
Exactly. Yeah. On our way out, folks, we want to remind you of the immortal words of Groucho Marx, who says the secret to life is honesty and fair dealing. You can fake that, you've got it made. Folks, we do this because we love it. Though you can send stars to the Indie Comics Network and help us cover the cost of our production, which we would deeply appreciate if you did, because if you enjoy the show, please send some stars over to the Indie Comics Network and help Nita and the gang cover their expenses. So if you get a chance, go visit your local retailer, because there's all sorts of phenomenal sequential art just sitting there waiting for you to be discovered, especially if they have back issues. You can't go wrong looking through those magazine boxes or those older boxes that maybe haven't been looked through in a while. Go help out your local retailer and go get some great comics. You don't have to be discouraged about modern comics when there's all of this great material out there waiting for you to discover. Essentials, Showcase Presents, reprint collections, long boxes filled with books that your retailer will be more than happy to sell you if you just go and take a look. So, and there's so much great material out there. We'll be running for as long as we can on these shows, just showing stuff off. So deeply appreciate you. Don't forget, fundmycomic.com. Look for Hatch Annotated. Look for the Shadow Kingdom. Also, AR13L is over there, and Soul Tack Hybrids has got collections. There's some great Arrow Comics material. There's just great material over there in general. So go over there and check that out. Fundmycomic.com, folks. So See you Sunday morning, 9 a.m. We'll go through the Land of Oz. We'll be back here again Friday morning at 5 a.m. to go through some more Two Fisted Tales. And once we finish this off, we'll go on to some other phenomenal stuff. I can guarantee you upcoming, there's Mobius, there's Wally Wood coming, maybe a little Vaughn Baudet with some editing. I'll have to look. But I want to show a little bit of that stuff off too. So much great material out there, folks. We'll never go through it all. Anyway, again, deeply appreciate you being here. We know the majority of our viewers pop in after the fact, and we appreciate you as well, just as much. Make sure you leave a comment. If you can, leave a like. Hit that love button if you can. And, let us know if there's something that you want to see us go over, as we'll be more than happy to do that. Just go through our archives first to make sure we haven't gone over it already. So any other thing you want to say? Any other words of advice?
No.
Read comics, especially ours.
Yeah.
Read alternative and independent comics, especially ours, folks.
There is great stuff out there. Don't bother wasting your time complaining. Just go find the good stuff.
That's true. Too much trolling, too much negativity out there. If you love comics, folks, show it. Show the love instead of the hate. Try to be positive about this industry and this business. You might not be able to be very positive about, but the art form itself, it's just fantastic. Where else are you going to be able to express yourself like this, folks? Take care, everybody. See you next time. Look at our archives. Love y'all. Take care. Have a great, great weekend. See you Sunday. See you soon.
Holy shit. That is the craziest thing I have ever seen. And I'm Dennis Quaid, and Dennis Quaid has seen some shit.
In the time before Atlantis sank and the lands of the world were savage and untamed, one man would claim his destiny, leaving his Atlantean tribe behind and throwing off the shackles of Lemurian bondage. He sailed the seas as a pirate captain before seizing his place as a king. And now that he has the throne, how long will he be able to keep it? This is The Shadow Kingdom, the classic sword and sorcery tale by Robert E. Howard, adapted by Randy Zimmerman, with artwork by Russ Leach. Available now at fundmycomic.com.
Joke's on you, bitch. I love this shit.
Hey kids, you want to see some great comics? It's Comic Book Show and Tell twice a week. Comics by Night every Friday at 5 a.m. Eastern. And the Sunday Funnies every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Indie Comics Network YouTube channel. Void where prohibited. Not available with any other offers. Side effects may include loss of boredom and a sudden urge to read more comics. Check with your doctor if a sudden rash appears.
It means you're a catcher, not a pitcher.
What was that? This is not a charade. We need total concentration. Now, once again, this time, with theory.
Do you draw the Flintstones naked? There's a market for that.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the